Corpus Hermeticum. So I want to read you guys, I've been reading chapter 4 of the Corpus Hermeticum, which is called The Key. And basically this is a dialogue between Hermes Trismegistus, the author, the greatest metaphysical teacher to ever grace our mother Gaia, and his son, Hermes has been teaching Tot about God, about the nature of God. And basically in the first 14 verses of the chapter, Hermes is teaching Tot that the Father, God, is responsible for all things good are God. All things that are created come from the Father that is both male and female. And so Tot, he's amazed by the glory and the wonder of God. And he's saying, oh, wow, God, how you've opened my mind to see your beauty. And Hermes is talking about, oh, yes, and how God's light, it is a piercing light, but it is not a blinding light. It is an illuminating light. It is not a light that blinds or pains or excruciates or harms us. It is a light that enlightens us. When I was reading that yesterday, I was like, ooh, shit, boy, fuck. That shit was hot. And so I've been reading it today, right? I read this earlier, probably like an hour or so ago. I want to read you guys 15 through 31. So this is page 34 and 35 in my copy. He said, this is Tot speaking, I would we also, O Father, could do so. And so this is Tot basically saying, like, I wish we could also have this power, this glory, this beauty that God has, the infinite glory and beauty and power that God has. And Hermes, he says, I replied, I wish we could, O son, but for the present we are less intent to the vision, and cannot yet open the eyes of our mind to behold the incorruptible and incomprehensible beauty of that good. But then we shall see it, when we have nothing to say of it. I read that for the first time 2 weeks ago, or probably like a month, probably like 4 to 6 weeks ago. I don't know why I said 2 weeks. That was super random. When I first started going through the Corpus Hermeticum, it was back in early January, when I was going through this and the Tao Te Ching for like my spiritual text. But then I realized that trying to do two, I was doing both of them at the same time for a little bit, but then I tried to add the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita, and then I was like, oh wait, I'm wilding. 4 is crazy, and honestly 3 is kind of crazy, and I was kind of coping honestly with Corpus Hermeticum and Tao Te Ching, but I always wanted to read Tao Te Ching. I would just be coping about Corpus Hermeticum. So I was like, all right, fuck it. I just only read Tao Te Ching, and I finished the Tao Te Ching about week and a half ago, and I've been going through the Bible, and I had made the Bible my primary text, but honestly, it was kind of annoying because I really liked the fact that the Tao Te Ching's like meditations were short, and that I could get through a page. Like my goal is to just show up and read 1 page a day for my spiritual text, for my metaphysicist practice. That's a part of my daily devotions. But I found like some resistance because like the Bible, fucking pages on the Bible are fucking long, man. There's hella words on these bitches. And I would want to do this, I would want to read before my meditation. That's like kind of like my plan. Honestly, I haven't been meditating the past few days. I've instead come outside and like done unplugged walks, stretching, just like conscious breathing. I've not been feeling I've been coping hard as fuck about meditating the past 2 days, especially. So I just came outside and like did unplugged walks. I'm not sure about that, but it was just, I found some resistance with me reading the Bible like first thing in the morning, like as my spiritual text that I'm mainly going through. I think it's also because the Bible is just so fucking long, and it's a long-term project, and I knew I wanted to read the Corpus Hermeticum, and I'm like, I can just kill this in like, a couple months, if that. I mean, the Corpus Hermeticum, let's see, I think it's less than 150 pages. Yeah, it's not even 140. Yeah, 131. So yeah, the Corpus Hermeticum is pretty short. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm about to crush this instead. So I made Corpus Hermeticum my primary text, and I'm just gonna go through, I'm still gonna show up and read a chapter of the Bible. So I'm going through the book of Matthew. I had 2 chapters be my goal, but I was like, nah, I'm still coping with 2 chapters, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm just gonna do 1, you know what I mean? Let's just lower the bar. Might as well lower the bar and actually show up and do the work. rather than having a bar that's higher and you're not doing anything because you just want to have ego and shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, just drop your ego. Okay. Let's get to what Hermes was spitting about, because this shit was really sauce. (4:17). For the knowledge of it is a divine okay, now I gotta read this back. Let's go back to 16. I replied, I wish we could, O son, but for the present we are less intent to the vision, and cannot yet open the eyes of our mind to behold the incorruptible and incomprehensible beauty of that good. But then we shall see it when we have nothing at all to say of it. I think that's so beautiful. That's like so profound. When we truly can see the full vision, like in the Kabbalion says this so beautifully. It says something like, it was talking about the divine paradox and the illusionary nature of our physical reality, and how we shouldn't worry about the illusion, because from our relative experience, it's not an illusion, it's our experience. This is real. It's like, although we can hold this higher perspective, and although we can use the laws of the universe, although we can understand the nature of God and we can align with it, we still have this physical reality to experience. The thing is, only God doesn't experience the Maya, the illusion. Only God, the all, the one, true self, is completely actualized, full being. And the Kabbalion says this, it says, only when the all fully consumes us back in itself, or back to it, does the vision truly vanish. Only once we merge back with the source. The law of one teaches this as well in the raw material. Only once we merge back to the source, true yoga, true union, is when the vision can truly vanish. When the Maya, this experience of duality, only once we're truly back to one with the all, can that vanish. And that is I think that's very beautiful. Here's the thing, the vision will only truly vanish when we're truly one with the all. And in that moment, we won't have anything to say, because saying things means there's physicality. It means that the ego is involved. But you have to go beyond the ego, into the depths of your inner world, beyond the physical plane. When you can just be still, be silent, be truly present. Only then can you know God. Only there can you know I am. I am the I am. You are. For the knowledge of it is a divine silence, and the rest of all the senses, for neither can he understand, for neither can he that understands. For all the knowledge of it is a divine silence, and the rest of all the senses, for neither can he that understands that understand anything else, nor he that sees that see anything else, nor he hear any other thing, nor even move the body. Hermes is saying that if you are hearing, you're not doing it right. You're not there yet. You know why? Because hearing is of the physical, the body, the ego. No. We have to go beyond the physical senses into the spiritual senses, spiritual sight. For shining steadfastly upon and round the whole mind, it enlightens all the soul, and loosing it, I don't know, from the bodily senses and motions, it draws it from the body, and changes it wholly into the essence of God. For it is possible for the soul, O son, to be deified, while yet it lodges in the body of man, if it contemplates the beauty of the good. See, when I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. Let me read that one again. For it is possible for the soul, O son, to be deified, while yet it lodges in the body of man, if it contemplates the beauty of the good. Whenever I hear like quotes, or I read things that are like other quotes, I like to quote them. I like to put the thing that sounds similar next to that. So I wrote that, like the first saying in the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says, those who uncover the meaning of these statements will not experience death. Like, oh, interesting. Hermes is saying that it is possible for the soul to be deified, for you to become immortal in the body, while you still live in the physical experience, if you contemplate, if you truly go within and ask and criticize and analyze and truly feel into. If you do these things, if you contemplate the good being God, you won't experience death. You can have eternal life. You can be deified. 20. Todd, he asked, how do you mean deifying, Father? 21. I replied, there are differences, O son, of every soul. Hermes speaking to all of our uniqueness and all of the ways that how all of us have a different path of finding God, of getting to that deification. He said, but how do you again divide the changes? I replied, have you not heard in the general speeches that from one soul of the universe are all souls, are all those souls which in the world are tossed up and down, as it were, and severely divided? That's Hermes saying that from the one, all of us emerge. Of these souls, there are many changes, some into a more fortunate estate, and some quite the contrary. For they which are of creeping things are changed into those of watery things, and those of things living in the water to those of things living upon the land. And airy ones are changed into men, and human souls that lay hold of immortality are changed into daemons. You know, this is interesting. Wow. Of these souls, there are many changes, some into a more fortunate estate, and some quite the contrary. Wow, that's funny. 24. And so they go on into the sphere or region of the fixed gods, for there are two choirs or companies of gods, one of them that wander, and another of them that are fixed. And so this is the perfect glory of the soul. This is interesting. I believe when Hermes says wander, he means like stray away, misalignment from the law of one, the law of love. And when he says fixed, he means those that are focused on the law, who stay in love, who want to serve love, who want to be in love. 25. But the soul entering into the body of a man if it continues to do evil, shall neither taste of immortality, nor is a partaker of the good. Now, whenever Hermes says evil, right, like, if you read the Corpus Hermeticum, just like straight up, and you have like a dualistic lens, then you'll assign like good and evil. Ah, man, I don't know. This is hard. This is hard to say, man. Well, I do know, but this is just hard. Not necessarily hard to say, but from like a higher law of one metaphysical perspective, like good and evil are just moralities. They're like judgments. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that good isn't inherently good isn't inherently right. It's just that you can't deny the value that evil has. And it's not that evil is even like a separate power that fights good. All is one. All is God. God created evil, right? Not necessarily that God creates evil. We do that by misaligning because we have ignorance of God. Actually, the Corpus Hermeticum talks about that. Ah, damn! We were about to get there. You know, hold on, let me read this part real quick. Hermes says, "But being drawn back the same way, it returns into degeneration, and this is the condemnation of an evil soul. And the wickedness of a soul is ignorance. For the soul that knows nothing of the things that are, neither the nature of them, nor that which is good, but is blinded, rushes and dashes against the bodily passions, and unhappy as it is, and not knowing itself, it serves strange bodies and evil ones, carrying the body as a burden, and not ruling it, but being ruled by it. And this is the mischief of the soul. On the contrary, the virtue of the soul is knowledge. For he that knows is both good and religious, and already divine." He asked, "But who is such a man, O father?" I replied, "He that neither speaks nor hears many things. For he, O son, that hears two speeches or hearings, fights in the shadow. For God and the Father and the good is neither spoken nor heard." Here's the thing. God doesn't speak to our ears. God speaks to our hearts. Like I said, silence, stillness, presence are the prerequisites to knowing, to experiencing God. Ignorance of God leads to darkness. Gnosis, knowledge of God, leads to immortality. Because you're already eternal. Hermes said, "On the contrary, the virtue of the soul is knowledge. For he that knows is both good and religious, and already divine." You're already divine. It's not that you have to become more divine or something. You're already divine. You just have to remember, bro. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't remember, if you have ignorance, absence of knowledge, when you lack this knowledge of God, when you lack this knowledge of yourself, and thus you don't have that love for God, that love for yourself, that love for others. When you lack these things, then can you do evil. And he that stays without knowledge will continue in the path of darkness. Right? Like, I like to say light and darkness, or the positive and the negative polarity. This is how the law of one teaches it, because it's a less moral judgment, right? Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to say that, like, the path of darkness is very complex, and there are very heinous things that I don't like that many people do down the path of darkness, right? Or the negative polarity, while influenced by the negative polarity, or by giving into the negative polarity, whatever. However, I can't judge those people because, one, I've done things myself that I'm not proud of, and I understand that, and I experience that, but at the same time, all I can see is obedience of the law, knowledge and obedience of the law of one, the law of love, the law of love God, love your neighbor, the law of do no harm, treat others how you want to be treated. I can only see knowledge and obedience of the law, or ignorance and disobedience of the law. I can't judge somebody for not knowing something they don't know. And thus acting in accordance with that. That's how life works. The thing is, as you go down the path of darkness, you will suffer. But the thing is, all suffering is actually truly for your own glory, for God's glory. It's to find the beauty in the suffering, to find the lessons, and to know God even better. I wanna ask you this. Can an eye see itself? No. Right? And therefore consciousness, God, cannot fully perceive itself. The one cannot fully perceive itself as just the one. There's just one. And so the one plays this game of duality to know itself, to love itself, to experience itself on infinite planes of existence. And it allows itself through this game to truly be able to know itself, love itself, experience itself. And thus we all are here to serve the one and to be in the one, to feel the one, to be in the field, the Tao, the mother of all life, to live in the mind of the all. God is love. And therefore, if you violate love out of ignorance of God, if you harm others, if you harm yourself, you will suffer. And this suffering, this path of darkness, is there to serve as the mirror, as the catalyst for you to recognize that there's a better way, and that when you come on the other side, you'll be able to appreciate the goodness, the beauty, the love of God, of yourself, that much more, because you've experienced the path of darkness. All things serve a role in the Creator's universe. There's only one path, the one you're on. There's only one path to your desired reality, to the life that you genuinely want. It's the one you're on. There's only truly one path that your soul can take to get to God. Now, I don't mean that you're limited. I just mean that from the absolute perspective, all things are for your soul's evolution so that you can merge back with the all. You are already eternal. Your immortality is right here. Your beauty, your power, it's already right here, if you choose to perceive it. Love is a perception. Oneness is a perception. When you can perceive your interconnectivity to the field, you can experience your interconnectivity to the field. That is everything. In my opinion, only when you can move from this interconnectivity will you truly feel fulfilled.